do you think Benny should be playing more minutes at this stage of the season?
I'm not in practice, so I don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't know how bad he could be playing in practice not to get any time. I mean, me personally, I think, yeah, we're looking for him to get a little bit more of an opportunity. I think just playing time and, having that experience and allowing him to make a little bit of mistakes will help him in his growth, help him in his confidence. You see him, going in as a player, you put me in with 2 minutes, 3 minutes left in the game. I'm feeling some type of way. That's me. I'm feeling some type of way, and again, whatever coach's reasoning is for that's his reasoning. But I just think the way the season is going, guys aren't playing great. Even last game Jimmy wasn't playing great, and Jimmy's been playing solid the whole year. I think he's exceeded expectations about how he's gonna be. But the last couple of games they're struggling. Cole was struggling, and I would put Benny in there. I just he gives us that change that we're looking for as far as athleticism, trying to get up and down a little bit. He's a guy that can come from the weak side, block shots. But again, when he's got in the game, we haven't really seen that because one, he's not getting a lot of opportunities, and two, I think it's just he's thinking about it. When he's thinking about what everyone's saying. Now we're going back to talking about transferring after he already put it out there that he's not. So it's just a lot of variables that come into play. And I think probably more than we know, right, from the outside. Again, I'm not in practice, so I don't know really what's going on. But again, it is kind of weird to me, put John Bull in before him. We haven't seen John Bull for last year or this really at all. You know what I mean? And I just think Benny would have more of an impact if he was given more of an opportunity. But yeah, my call.
Right. And we aren't in practice. So I'm glad you said that. I do think at this stage of the season, at least for me, one of my priorities now is, all right, not to say like this season's lost or something, because you still have time. There's still the ACC tournament. You want to fight all the way throughout the rest of the season, but also in the transfer portal era, my concern is let's just make sure Benny's happy because we really need him next year. And, guys are leaving next year and he's one of the more talented guys. He's got one of the higher ceilings on the team. So for me, I get Coach Boeheim a little bit because Benny struggled at times when he's been out there, but also what's the harm in putting him out there now when the season's not going according to plan? And now, the focus is a little bit more shifted, in my opinion, towards let's just make sure that he's happy, he's growing, and he has some positive strides going into next season.
Yeah, and I just, I don't know what coach's mindset is on it. To be honest, I don't even think about that, like about making the kid happy or, that's just not him. Like, he's not a guy.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? He's not a guy ever since I've known him in basketball wise to like really go up to you and try to make you feel good. Like he's a guy who wants to win games. He needs guys who have thick skin and want to go out there and compete. When he gets in your face and he yells at you, he expects you to be able to take it, and he likes it even more when he knows guys kind of come back at him a little bit with something, with a little bit of fire in their belly. Now he knows he's, it's working a little bit, so, and then other guys kind of go into their shell and, get tentative. We saw that from guys this year. So he's not even, he's going to be who he is. I think it's up to guys to, and look, we could say it all day, like, well, he needs to adapt. He needs to do this. He's 78.
Yeah.
He been doing this. He been doing this for, damn near 60 years altogether. We're like 55 or something, so you got to adapt to what he's doing. You just got, and you got to do what's best for you at the end of the day too. If you feel, at the end of the season, that's your best bet to go somewhere else. And that's what you got to do. And we know GMAC and Red and Griff are the guys who are supposed to be helping Benny out, and they're doing that. That's their job. We know they're in there talking to him, and coach isn't going to do that. That's not what coach, those three guys are going to do that. And we know that's what they're doing. And hopefully he does stay, man. He's a talented kid. But again, Tim, we've seen guys, I go back to when I was, in school to where, my freshman year, I come in, D Nick's a junior. That's his first year even playing for real. And I always use D Nick as an example because he's one of the hardest workers that I've ever been around. Just not playing those 2 years. And he could have transferred, right? He could have went somewhere else and played, but he stuck it through. And then his junior and senior year, he averages 14, and senior year, he averages, damn near 20, and gets Big East Player of the Year, and then gets drafted. And he wasn't really a guy who was supposed to get drafted. He wasn't on, but he built himself into that, and mentally he was able to fight through. I think, coaches looking for those type of guys. And we talked about it, Tim, we need those guys on the floor. Like we need, a lot of our mistakes are mental with our mistake, like rush shots, bad passes, being stuck on defense, just standing there. The last Pittsburgh game was kind of the game where I was like, damn, the effort doesn't look there all the way. It was time, not saying not playing hard, but at times you see like, damn, that was last 2 days ago. They weren't moving it. Pittsburgh, my man, had 18 rebounds, and then offense, this was the game when, because we were doing pretty good on the boards, as of recent, right? We were winning a lot of those rebounding battles. This was the game when we kind of took a step back in that category, right? We got really crushed on the glass, and even the numbers didn't do justice, because Pittsburgh were getting second, third, fourth chance points, opportunities. So, mentally, man, it's just, you got to be tough. I always go back to that, guys. I know it's a different area with social media and everything going in, so they're really nitpicking at everything, but it comes down to being mentally tough, man, and be able to take his coaching. Be able to take his coaching. That's what it is. You can't come in here being like, you got to adapt to me, I'm the man.
Right. And by all accounts, Benny has been doing that, right? Like, he's been great in that regard.
Absolutely.
And it is a tough situation because, coach has been doing this a long time, and to defend him, he has a lot of success stories like D-Nick of, he didn't play you right away, but you got better. Dion Waiters is another, Michael Carter-Williams. Tons of guys have come on this podcast and said, I thought about transferring. And then they go on and have successful NBA careers, and they talk about how that adversity helped them grow.
That mindset. That mindset.
But then the other side of it is, I don't know if it's the same level of mindset across the board nowadays. And because the transfer portal era is so open and there's so many options, and you can just go right to the next school without sitting out a year, which I don't love it, because I don't think it's great for Syracuse. And it's tough, though, because like you said, you can't really ask a 77-year-old coach that's been doing it almost 60 years all together. I know he's been coaching for Syracuse for 46, I guess it is this year. You can't ask him to change his style too much, but part of me feels like, man, maybe this just isn't the best time period for coach to be doing that type of stuff, because the kids have changed their style a little bit.
Yeah, that's the other side of it. Yeah, and that's true. You see, you go to Coach K and different guys. It seems like they've adapted a little bit. They've got guys to where they're willing to buy in, and they're willing to take the coaching, and that's why you see them having success. Coach, it could be, hey, coach, we need you to be able to not dial it down, but maybe just relate to him a little bit more. But again, that's hard, man. That's hard to do. I think he knows it, but I think it's another thing. Like, it's almost like, damn, this era is soft. That's what he kind of, like back when I was, this is what it took. These are old school guys. And I feel like that too. Like, that's how I was coached growing up. Like, I was able to take that. Guys were yelling at me, and that's what, for me, it was like, that's how it is. If you couldn't take that, then you couldn't play at a high level, so I feel that, like, I understand that. But again, like, times have changed. Like you said, Tim, times have changed, and like, guys are different. They're looking for different things, they're and with the transfer portal, situational, right? For me, like, I like it for situations. If you want to get back to your family, somebody's, different situations, but not like just to find like, the grass is greener on the other side type thing. You know what I mean? You got to go fight through a little adversity, build some character, like I think you need that to be able to grow. And in some instances, people go and have success, and that's great, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. And I see both sides though, Tim. Like, I see both sides. I do, like, you got to adapt to these kids. Like, you got to, like, it's just the way it is, man. But it's tough to do.
Yeah. No, that's the biggest sort of conundrum right now. Like, I don't even really have a strong opinion one way or the other on that, but it's just that it is what it is right now. Like, Coach
Hmm.
Boeheim is going to be Coach Boeheim, and guys are probably going to leave because they can leave and they have the option to not sit out a year because of it. And also, what worries me is, I don't know what's going on in Benny's head, obviously, but he has come out and said, I'm not transferring. He's indicated some stuff that he might be sort of willing to stick it out. But what's his AAU coach telling him? What's his,
Oh man, yeah.
like, that's the part that's scary to me. I was reading an article from The Athletic about how often these AAU coaches look at a box score and they see their former players playing 8 minutes in this game and not getting run. And he was some 5-star, and they're upset with that. And they're texting other coaches across the country, hey, would you take my guy next year? And it's like, there's all that sort of tampering going on. And that's just the new era in college basketball.
Yeah, and it's just been different too, like with us. Like I don't know, like, yeah, we've gotten recruits in, but I don't know. I think just the past few years, you hear people talking about him wanting to be with his sons and stuff, and I guess you could see that a little bit, but I don't think it would be where it's going to scare people away from coming to Syracuse. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I think if you want to come and you're a great player and you could play ball, I think he's gonna give you the freedom, right? I mean, we've heard all type of different stories about the Kadari situation and about
Right.
the Quincy situation. Like, we heard Quincy wanted to leave because he wanted to shoot more jump shots and be out on the perimeter, and that's what he felt would maybe helped his draft stock. I mean, all in all, I think winning is what really is going to help your draft stock, so you can get on that big stage and really show at that level what you can do. The tournament, if you play well, you're gonna get a chance. You're gonna give yourself an opportunity. We heard Kadari, practices wasn't, giving 100% effort, just things like that. So, we don't know. And again, going back to what coach doesn't care how good you are. Like he doesn't want to deal with that type of stuff. He's had Melo, DC, and he's played with Dave Bing, like John Watt. Like he's had guys, like plenty of guys in the NBA, and he's dealt with great players. So, I mean, I guess who are you to come in and kind of give it half-ass and not give you 100%? He kind of takes that as like a disrespect to Syracuse, right? Like you getting this opportunity to come here and play at a elite program, go to an elite university, represent yourself and your family, and then you're gonna give it half-ass. So like that'll piss them off a little bit, and again, like, can we adapt? Can we do that? Some things you can promise on, I guess. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah. So some things you can't, some things are a deal breaker. And I don't know, man. I think Syracuse basketball, to me, I would want to play there. Like I would want to play at Syracuse. I think these guys, GMAC, Red, and Griff do a great job recruiting. It's tough. It's tough too, man, especially with, you got the Kentuckys and Dukes in North Carolina. Who knows what's going on now with this NIL stuff? You know what I mean? And then you got to think about it too, Tim. College basketball overall, just in general, is talent, right? But for me, it's just down a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? We see the ACC. It's everybody's like right there, besides like 3 teams. It's down a little bit. And you got to think about these other competitive leagues that are popping up. Like guys can go in the G League now, the overtime league. Guys are going over to Australia. They got the Rising Stars thing. So it's a lot of different variables that come into play. And that are taking talent elsewhere. You know what I mean? So that affects recruiting as well. And then you see the NCAA trying to do more with the NIL, so they think that's going to bring, more guys in, but that's not really, because they can get way more money elsewhere. If the most talented guys, they can get way more money. You can get $500,000 to go play for the G League Ignite.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's tough on that side of recruiting as well. I think these guys are trying the best that they can.